Hi there, I'm Jesse from Miro, and in this video, we're going to cover how Miro Flows and Miro Sidekicks can help you to accelerate and transform the way that you run business transformations. If you're not familiar with Miro Flows gives you the ability to chain together and templatize multi-step workflows directly in the canvas that are fully powered by AI. Let's take a look at this in action. Great. So to kick this off, I can actually use a pre-built flow template for accelerating business transformation that I built before. But everything that you're going to see here could be fully catered or customized to fit your specific processes. So just take this as an example. But to deploy this template, all that I have to do is use template, and it's instantly going to build out this flow for me. Great. And just like that, you can now see this multi-step workflow template that's been created on the board. There's an area for inputting inputs, and then you can see that we've started to chain together a multi-step workflow directly in the canvas that's going to help us with business transformation. So if we scroll over here to the right-hand side of the board, you can see that I've already started to pull in some inputs. We have our business requirements document, some call transcripts, some actual screenshots of existing processes, a team interview workshop with a bunch of sticky notes of what's working well, what could be improved. Again, a call transcript for that actual workshop. And all of this can then be used as the input for our actual flow. And here you see the flow all starts by outlining the current process. And with Miro Flows, you're able to connect inputs to Miro formats like documents, tables, timelines, etc., and actually take those inputs, execute the on-format prompt that I've created here to then fill in the actual artifact below. So here you can see I have a pretty comprehensive prompt with the role and goal, the inputs I've given it, the execution steps, and you could even go in with Miro Flows and select the AI model of your choice. Would give you the ability to use your model so that way you're able to truly bring flows to the way that you work. And you can also connect flows to key company knowledge sources like Miro Insights, Amazon Q, Gemini Enterprise. So flows can go out and pull from those sources to bring in key inputs for you without ever having to leave the canvas. And Miro Flows can search the web. So with Miro Flows, you're really able to bring AI into your flow of work because you're not having to go off to those individual point solutions. And now all that I have to do is hit run. And what you're going to see here in the top right-hand corner is that Miro Flows is kicking off a 7-step flow where it's going to outline the current process, generate a process diagram for us of that process, give us a table with bottlenecks and proposed solutions, come up with a documentation of what the AI would suggest us build, a new process diagram for that, an implementation backlog, and then ultimately a leadership presentation for us to get sign off on. And while this is generating, one of my favorite parts about Miro Flows is that it really allows you to leverage AI with your team in a collaborative manner. Everyone can come here and see the actual prompt that's being used, see the inputs that are being leveraged, see the model that you're using for each individual artifact. And you can really collaborate with AI versus going off and doing it by yourself and then coming back to actually work together with the final outputs from AI. Now, let's come back when this is generated and see what Miro AI built for us to help us with this business transformation example. Great. So now 6 out of 7 of our flow steps have been generated after about 90 seconds or so. We can see here that it took all those inputs and gave us an overview of the current state process. It then actually built out a fully dynamic and editable diagram of what the process looks like today. It generated out a table with all of the key bottlenecks, which stage it occurs in, the impact of the bottleneck, potential solutions. And then Miro Flows actually takes the table that was generated just before this with the bottleneck and potential solutions and builds out a solution design template for us that actually outlines the solution that we should implement, as well as starts to diagram out what the future state of this solution could be, again, using Miro's diagramming functionality. And finally, just before the presentation, it actually started to create a Kanban board with us here with a potential implementation backlog if we were to execute on this solution. And just like that, you can see that the 7th step has just completed. And here you can see our AI-powered claim status retrieval slide deck has been generated that talks about the bottlenecks that were created, why the solution helps, impact and success metrics. And all of this has been created with just those key inputs that I added at the beginning and hitting run on this 7-step flow. And lastly, one other cool thing I want to show you is how you can leverage Miro Sidekicks, which are no-code AI agents that you can train on specific personas. So in this case, we actually have our BPMN diagram builder sidekick to interact with content that's been created on the board to help you build out more artifacts further. So in this case, I can actually select the solution design document and the process diagram, and I can actually ask the sidekick to generate our BPMN diagrams. Hit diagram here and hit run. And what the Sidekick's going to do is it's going to actually go ahead and review those artifacts and then generate the BPMN diagram for us instantly. Let's come back when it's been completed. Great. And just like that, you can see that our Sidekick has gone out and created the BPMN diagram that completes the flow for us. You can see that the diagram illustrates how the work goes across 4 key participants, and you can actually zoom in and see the work that the Sidekick generated for us. And now that we have this BPMN diagram generated, we can also use this as an input to feed into things like our implementation backlog table by dragging and dropping, and also for our slide deck. And now with Miro Flows, instead of having to start the whole flow over again, since I added in this input, I can just hit run at the implementation backlog stage of the flow, and it kicks off a 2-step flow for us instead of an 8-step flow. And just like that, you can see that our implementation backlog and our leadership slide deck have been updated. So if we zoom back out, you can see that with Miro Flows, we were able to take just a few key inputs here, and with one click of a button, generate all of this rich content that today would take teams hours, if not months. I would encourage you to try out flows on your own and start to build them for your particular workflows. And if you want to see this in depth, please book a demo with our team to show you in more detail. Thanks so much for watching.